I'm going to be going over my top 10 fall list, and this is really just obviously from fragrances from my collection. What I personally see myself wearing the most in the fall. There is some overlap. Some of these could obviously be worn in, either spring or all year round, some of them, and then some in winter as well. But I think they're very well suited for the fall, and they're ones I feel like that I will be wearing most frequently in the fall. Okay, so these are in no particular order. I'm just going to start running through them. Some of them might be some surprises. Other ones you probably kind of expect to see here. So I will start with probably the two that you all do expect the most to see. This one's from the House of Parfums de Marly. It is Layton. This is a just amazing oriental spicy fragrance. It opens with this really nice apple. There's geranium in there, there's lavender in there, there's vanilla in there. It gives you this kind of just really seductive yet formal, truly unisex fragrance. I think it's more geared towards men, but women could also pull it off because of the sweetness and the lavender. Again, it's got geranium in there, but it's got this nice spicy kick to it, which really makes it, lean kind of masculine as well. It's just very unique, and it is very mass appealing. That you get this again. You get this nice green apple in the opening. Now it's not like greenly. It's not that bright, but it is definitely there. It's definitely fresh. Again, the mids are mainly made up of the kind of lavender, and then you have some geranium, which can kind of come off. Some people say is like a Vicks vapor rub kind of smell. I don't really get that, but I get where they're coming from. Depends on the batch of, Layton. Some of the older batches had that more prominent note. The newer ones, it tends to not be there as much, at least. You don't pick up on it as much. Some of the clones have more, of that as well. Alexander's Royal Equestrian, which in my opinion is one of the best clones, definitely has that kind of methylated opening. So if you're looking for a good alternative, there are a ton. Again, you can do Royal Equestrian from Alexandria. King Fragrances has one called Royal Essence. Luxador, L'Oreal Egar is another one of my favorites. This is a dark, richer version. It's kind of like a heavier version of Layton. Very loud. Performs pretty well also. Detour Noir has got a very cheap alternative. You usually get that around like 25 bucks for a 3.3 ounce. That one's really close to Layton. Alhambra is very close. There's a ton of clones of Layton. So, if you don't want to just really kind of, invest in a big bottle and kind of make that jump, pick up one of the clones first, see if you like it before kind of really committing to it. Now, I will say it's certainly worth getting the real deal, in my opinion. It is a killer fragrance. Next up has been another very hyped fragrance. And this one is one that really just kind of got hyped a lot this year. It's Sauvage Elixir. It started a whole new trend among designer houses. You got 1 Million Elixir. You got the brand new either elixirs or parfums from pretty much every single house. Now, they didn't start the parfums, but they're all kind of getting on that trend. You have Armani Code Parfum. It's kind of like a similar vibe on this. Again, it is a parfum. It's not the elixir, but it's like they're all kind of trying to do the same thing. This is a more kind of fougere take on the Sauvage DNA. It has this more mature, grown-up smell to it. This kind of spicy, almost barbershoppy smell added to the Sauvage DNA. There's cinnamon. There's licorice. And then it just kind of comes off again like this almost like creamy shaving cream additional touch to it. The licorice really provides this interesting just spiciness that's not there in the original. You will pick up on the original DNA, though. It still is there. This one is also pretty hefty in price. It's 120 MSRP for a 60 ml. If you don't want to invest in that, again, there's a ton of clone houses. This one's been the most hyped recently. It's called Assad by Latafa. It is pretty close. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty close. It's definitely not as loud you know, and it doesn't smell as of high quality, but you can get that for under 30 bucks. It's certainly worth it at that point. I will say, however, though, even though this is $120, it lasts 60 ml. You only need maybe 2-3 sprays max of this, and it'll get you through the entire day easy, and then some. So it really is going to last you as long as, you know, 120 ml, 100 ml bottle. So at that price, then if you really factor in kind of the longevity and how little you need to use of this, it's really not a bad price point compared to other things. So just something to keep in mind. This one is another one that it's, again, from the house of Parfums de Marly, and there's a ton I could have done on this. They got so many good ones for the fall and winter. I'm going to keep some of them from the winter list because I think they fit better in the winter. But, you know, this is Herod. This is another one of the very kind of hyped up releases from them. Again, you could have went with so many others, and I'll get into that in a minute, but this is this amazing, smooth, sweet, seductive tobacco smell. It's got this very nice, just, it's super smooth, almost creamy. It's got this spicy kick that just really smells masculine, but yet seductive. I would say this is even more seductive than Layton. Layton's slightly fresher than this, but this is very much like a date night fragrance. It also, this does not project like crazy. It'll hang around. Okay, longevity is good on it, but it's not really loud. I've noticed after the first couple of hours, it sits really close. So this is a really good kind of date night fragrance. This has been very well received on my end. You know, so has Layton. Both of them are going to be great as far as the, you know, kind of compliments aspect of it, if that's what you're looking for. Again, Layton, or not Layton, but Parfums de Marly has so many good, you know, options for the fall and winter. Carlisle, which is this, it's another tobacco. It's even more tobacco prominent than, you know, Herod. It does have a nicer juicy apple opening as well, but it's more kind of mature smelling. Some people don't like it as much. I love it, but Pegasus is this metallic kind of almond note. It's got a powderiness to it. It's really based around the note of almond with this kind of metallic bite that makes it, you know, that metallic kind of aspect keeps it from going too feminine because it is slightly powdery as well. But it is really good. I prefer Carlisle, Herod, and Layton over that. Ocean is another huge one. That smells really good. It smells kind of like apple pie, essentially. That, though, it really much is like, you know, kind of holiday in a bottle. The problem with that, though, is it's not very versatile. Okay, like there's not really a lot of opportunities where you want to walk around smelling like an apple pie, other than Christmas and, you know, Thanksgiving or something like that. So those, again, though, I think those are more suited for the kind of more winter weather because they are even heavier than these are and more specific to certain scenarios. So next up is another one that got pretty hyped. This is the YSL Y Le Parfum. This is the newest from the Y line. This whole line has been, again, hyped beyond belief, and for good reason. They smell really good. They were marketed, the whole Y line originally was for kind of like millennials. It was supposed to be like this kind of like, you know, younger, modern fragrance for younger people. This one took the DNA from the Y DNA and really just added like a very kind of heavy dose of lavender, and it kind of made it more of a more formal fragrance, and it made it feel more mature. So YSL Y Live, YEDP, they're all very kind of youthful. Even the EDP, which is slightly more grown up, I think, than the other two, has this kind of like playfulness about it. This takes that and makes it more mature. It makes it more kind of suited for if you were going to wear this in like a work setting, a formal setting or something like that. This is going to be the one to go with, in my opinion. I also think it smells the best. Now, it's not the best performer. YEDP is by far the best performer out of all of them. It's also, I think, second in line from this as far as my personal favorites go. But I think this is the better quality. It smells better. I think it's better received. To me, it's more interesting than the just original EDP or, you know, Live or the Eau de Toilette. So again, this is my choice. I think it's also more suited for the colder weather, again, because it does have a heavier dose of lavender. It's not as fresh as the rest from the line. Next up is another very hyped fragrance. Not so much anymore, but this is Profumo. This was at all the top 10 lists, you know, for a long time. People were had this in there. Kind of seems to fade out. This is my favorite from the Acqua di Gio line. It is also, again, the most mature. It's the most kind of formal. It is the best performer. It takes the Acqua di Gio DNA, adds a nice hefty dose of patchouli, and there's this incense kind of dark dry down. And it is good. It is really, really good. Performance is no issue on this. It lasts me throughout the day. It projects really well also. Like I said, hands down, I think this is the best from the line, including the new EDP. I do like the new EDP, but I think this is my favorite. I think after this, it would probably go the Profondo Lights, which is a flanker of Profondo. It's just greener, it's more marine, it smells more interesting, and then it would go EDP. I just think Profondo is pretty generic on its own, but the flanker I do find to be enjoyable. Again, there's very affordable clones of Profumo as well. Lattafa does one, Fragrance World does one as well. Both of them are good alternatives if you don't want to, buy that because it is getting discontinued. Another one, this is Fall in a Bottle, Hugo Boss Bottled Intense. This is discontinued. It is now very expensive. This has a very prominent apple note. It's different than, Layton. People compare them because they both got apple notes in there, but this smells like, again, it does have that seductive kind of apple vibe to it, but it doesn't have as much of a lavender, note's not as loud in there. It's got more of a, there's almost like a powdery, little slight powderiness to it, but it's very, still masculine. This was my, for a long time, my ex's favorite fragrance in my entire collection. She loved this and over everything. So performance isn't bad on it. It's not great either, but again, it's discontinued now. So I would recommend picking up a clone because these are going for over $100, and I don't think at that point it's really worth it. I'd much rather get Layton if I want to drop that kind of money. But if you're looking to get this, I know King's Fragrances is the only house I know that makes a clone of this. It's called Boss Man, I believe. So I'll drop a link below if you're interested in that. I don't even know if they have it in stock, but I think that's the only house that I know that makes a clone. But if you can find this for cheap, absolutely grab it. It's amazing in the fall. This might be another surprise to some people. It's from the House of Creed. This is Viking Cologne. This is not, as highly received as a lot of the other Creeds. It was actually kind of shit on when it first dropped. This takes the Creed DNA, the Viking DNA, which is a spicy barbershop fougere style fragrance, and freshens it up. So people compare it to like a kind of a high-end Old Spice, basically, the original Viking. This definitely freshens up the DNA, makes it much more versatile, much more wearable, and it's not as in my opinion, as mature smelling, which is a good thing. There's a very heavy dose of mandarin in the opening of this. You're going to pick up on it. It's very prominent. The vetiver is also prominent in this. It makes it way more airy. The pink pepper is what Viking's kind of known for. It's got that kick. It's still there in the Viking Cologne. It's just a fresher, more easier to wear version of it, and it's great in the colder months. Again, it's going to cut through that cold air without issue. It is not, again, something that's as mass appealing as of pretty much all the other fragrances I've just went through, but I do enjoy it personally a lot. If you're looking for an affordable alternative, this is Baldessarini's Ultimate, and this smells very close, and this is maybe, I think, $30 for a tester. It's under 30, I believe. It smells pretty dang close. Now, it's not the same quality, obviously, as Creed Viking, but it's up there. Next up is from the house, another one from the house of YSL, and this is La Nuit, Cologne. I do have Blue Electrique. I have like 4 bottles of it, but honestly, I prefer this. And now that I've had time to sit with Blue Electrique more, I do prefer this. I don't prefer the performance on this one, but I prefer it doesn't have that powderiness that you get in the other one. I've had people comment, this is based around cardamom through and through. It is a fragrance that's based around that. It has this, it does have, a bergamot opening, which freshens it up, but it's got this very nice just cardamom that's seductive, it's smooth, it's sweet, it's just inviting, it's an amazing date night fragrance. Blue Electric takes that and then adds this blue touch to it, but what it does is it makes it more powdery in the opening. And I originally really liked Blue Electric, but after sitting with it more and comparing it to this, I think I still prefer this one. You know, that's just me. Again, longevity's not as good on the original unless you get a really old batch. I think this is a 2014 batch or 2016 batch, but this one's not bad. And yeah, so I love that. Another great date night option. This one I don't wear a ton, to be honest with you, but when I do have an opportunity to wear it, I do really enjoy it. It's Dior Homme Intense. This is, you know, I think it's very kind of dependent on your situation. This isn't extremely versatile by any stretch of the imagination. It's even less versatile than the original. It takes that Dior Homme DNA, that lipsticky iris kind of DNA, and just really amps it up. The iris again comes off like a kind of makeup-y iris. It's good. It's really good, but it is powdery, and it can be a lot in certain settings. I feel like you have to be dressed up. You have to be in a formal setting with a suit on or something like that for that to really make sense. So I don't wear it much, to be honest with you. I also have Valentino Uomo Intense, which is to me very similar. They both have that kind of like chocolatey note in it. I think Valentino's is a little more prominent and the iris isn't as loud. So sometimes, you know, I kind of wear that more honestly than Dior Homme Intense, but I do prefer Dior Homme Intense for what it is. So when there is a scenario I can wear it, I do. It's just, it's not as often as I would like. Mercedes-Benz Club Black. Okay, this was hyped up a long time ago. It's discontinued now. Again, this is starting to go really high price-wise too, along the lines of Boss Bottled Intense. This is a very just vanilla bomb, basically. There's leather in here, but it's not over the top. And then there's this very, very kind of loud vanilla note. Super seductive smelling. Smells really good. Performance is insane. If you can find it for reasonable price, absolutely pick it up. I've gotten a ton of compliments on that one personally. I love it. It's pretty versatile. Again, in the fall and the winter, you can wear it really whenever. It does have a slight synthetic smell to it. I mean, it's a $40 fragrance, but if you can find it now, it is discontinued. It smells really good, and it does smell of much better quality than, you know, what it costs. That's for sure. Lastly, and this is one of my favorites from the list, is this Replica Jazz Club. I want to try the new one, Autumn Vibes. This is just really, I mean, the whole Replica series is just so unique, right? So it's supposed to obviously, and as the name applies, replicate a scenario, a scent memory, basically in your head of a situation, and this is being in a jazz club. So you get that, you get this smokiness, you get the kind of like the tobacco, the rum, the cognac. There's like this like really nice like mixture of alcohol, smoke, and kind of like this leather, but there's also this really nice sweetness in there. Is very masculine, but it's not off-putting. And like, so a lot of times people hear the smoke and like, I don't want to smell like an ashtray, and I've heard people say that. It does not smell like an ashtray. This smells very like creamy and seductive. It smells good. It's so unique too. But yeah, I mean, it smells so good. You get that, I mean, you're absolutely going to get some smoke, but it's not in a bad way. Like, I hate cigarette smoke. It does not smell like that. It's a nice, just seductive kind of touch on it. It adds mystery to the scent profile, you know. So again, though, it is pretty sweet, so don't go crazy on the sprays. Performance isn't bad on this. I get good performance out of it, at least. You know, it'll get me whatever event I'm going to wearing it. It'll get me through that. This is really good. You know, I think it's amazing. So that's my list. Again, there's a ton of other ones that could have gone on here. There's some that I'm going to save for, you know, winter, that I think are more kind of appropriate for that. I didn't want to go too much into each fragrance because we're already at the 20-minute mark here, but you know, in this 10 fragrance we're going through. If there's any questions y'all have, again, as always, just put it in the comment section. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I love fall. Fall is my favorite time of the year. The weather is just perfect, and again, I love a lot of these fragrances I don't really get to wear, you know, in other settings or other seasons. So I'm really hoping to be able to get through some of these that I can't wear, just like really get to experience them again. So anyway, I'd like to hear what your favorite fall fragrances are. Anything you think I should check out that I might not have, you know, as well. But these are certainly going to be getting a lot of wear from me. I will be doing a clone one too. One that's got, you know, just kind of solo inspirations and then hybrids, because there are a ton of those I wear also. But these are my kind of designer slash niche, you know, what I'm going to be wearing the most, at least in the fall.